Tonight, turns out a Labour government doesn't mean more money for the Labour stronghold, London. We'll find out this week what the government's spending plans are, but it seems like, unlike the North, we won't be getting extra cash to fund things like a DLR extension to Thamesmead.
I think people think, well, London is OK, but really, if you come out here, it's not OK at all.
Jurors are shown CCTV of the first alleged attack by the man accused of murdering Daniel Angerin in Hainault. We're at Queen's, where women's tennis has returned for the first time in over half a century, and...
Oliver, never before has a boy wanted more.
Sally's been hanging out with Charles Dickens' family to celebrate a big birthday. Good evening. When the Chancellor unveils the government's spending plans on Wednesday, expect some audible groans from City Hall. Faced with growing pressure from reform in the North, the Labour government is expected to turn its back on a Labour mayor in a Labour stronghold and reject calls for investment in the capital's infrastructure and policing. Sir Sadiq Khan was hoping to persuade ministers to fund an extension of the Docklands Light Railway to Thamesmead and a bigger budget for the Met. But, as our political correspondent Simon Harris reports, London's begging bowl is likely to go ignored.
When it comes to public transport, Thamesmead is a long way from anywhere. There's no train, no tube, no tram, just buses. It might be only 12 miles from central London, but it takes an age to get there. Janet's daily commute by car and train is an hour and a half each way.
It's crazy considering how near we live. If I lived right out in Kent, near the coast, I'd get to London quicker. And I think people think, well, London is OK, but really, if you come out here, it's not OK at all. We're quite poor for transport in this area of London.
There is a plan. Transport for London wants to extend the Docklands Light Railway from Beckton in East London to two new stations, Beckton Riverside and Thamesmead south of the river. House builders and housing associations are keen for it to happen, promising thousands of new homes and jobs.
If the DLR comes across to Thamesmead Town Centre, it will give us an opportunity to take forward what we've already master planned, which is for 15,000 new homes for London and a new neighbourhood which would also have more leisure facilities, shops, education facilities, a real opportunity for a brand new neighbourhood in London.
The Mayor and TfL were hoping the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, would give it the go-ahead when she outlines government spending on Wednesday. But it seems London is about to be snubbed. A source close to the Mayor suggested there will be nothing for major infrastructure projects in London. No money for the DLR or Bakerloo line extension, and also no extra cash for the police. The source described that as unacceptable. When Sadiq Khan launched his re-election campaign last May, he repeatedly talked up London's prospects with a Labour Mayor and a Labour government.
We can go from rowing against the tide of a Tory government to having the winds of a Labour government at our backs.
His City Hall opponents aren't surprised this week's spending review will be disappointing for Londoners.
Rachel Reeves has failed to deliver the growth she promised, so she doesn't have the finances to give to the Mayor. And of course, the Mayor has stopped asking. When there was a Conservative government, he asked for much more money and actually was given more money, particularly for housing. He needs to make the same ask of this government, as why he cannot be surprised if they don't deliver for him.
The idea that a Labour Mayor of London and a Labour Chancellor aren't working closely together is nonsense, and I know there'll be lots of meetings to make sure London benefits. I've spoken to the Chancellor and her team over the last few weeks. I'm confident they understand the importance of growth in London, but like everyone, we're all in a competition to make sure we get the most benefits for our area.
The DLR extension has a price tag of £1.5 billion, making it one of the cheaper big-ticket items on the Mayor's wish list. Even if it fails to get the government's backing this time, the project's supporters say they're not giving up.
Now, Simon, you've spoken to the Mayor's team today, so what's the mood about all of this?
Well, I asked City Hall on a scale of 1 to 10 how angry the Mayor was, and they declined to give me a number, but I imagine privately he's pretty annoyed.
Sadiq Khan already seems to have decided the outcome of the comprehensive spending review is unacceptable as far as London is concerned. And there'll be more briefings from City Hall this afternoon, warning ministers that if they don't fund infrastructure projects in London, it will not only help them damage economic growth, it'll stop them reaching their housing targets. We still don't know how much money the Met's going to get. We think that might fall short of what's wanted. Although I'm told there is a glimmer of hope that TfL might get a longer-term funding deal, which might help it fund some improvements, if not necessarily those big infrastructure projects.
All right, Simon, thanks very much. The Old Bailey has heard how an alleged sword attacker smiled after slashing a pedestrian in the neck during a brutal string of attacks that left a 14-year-old boy dead. Marcus Monzo is accused of murdering Daniel Angerin and attempting to kill 4 others in Hainault last April. He denies the charges. Divya Kohli is outside the Old Bailey for us this evening. Divya, it was a harrowing day in court, wasn't it?
Yes, it has been a distressing day in court. 37-year-old Marcus Monzo is accused of using a sword to kill 14-year-old Daniel Angerin as he walked to school in Hainault last April. In court today, Monzo looked to the floor and held his head in his hands as the jury was shown blurred footage of Daniel Angerin's body. The prosecution ran through CCTV, doorbell and witness mobile footage showing the series of events that led to Daniel's death. The jury heard from Aista Dabasin Skyter, who filmed the attack on Daniel. She said she was just 10 metres away when she saw it happen. In the footage, she can be heard saying, "He just killed that boy right in front of my eyes." She says she saw Daniel drop to the floor. The court also heard from key witness Donato Iwule, a security guard on his way to work when Monzo's grey transit van allegedly mounted the pavement and hit him. Iwule said he thought he was dying. Footage captured Mr. Iwule screaming in agony as he was struck by the van before it collided with a house. He went on to describe how Monzo got out of the van and pulled a sword from a cover right in front of my face. He told the court, he said, "I don't know you," multiple times, but was told, "I don't care, I'm going to kill you." He says the attacker smiled at him after stabbing him. The jury was also shown a mobile phone video recovered from Monzo's iPhone after his arrest. It shows a sword being unwrapped. Monzo can be heard excitedly saying, "This is handmade in Japan." Marcus Monzo denies the charges and the trial continues.
Divya, thank you. The North East London NHS Foundation Trust and a ward manager at Goodmayes Hospital have been found guilty of health and safety offences following the death of 22-year-old Alice Figueiredo, who took her own life while under the hospital's care in 2015. Landmark convictions follow a years-long police investigation into a series of failures in safeguarding Alice, who was sectioned under the Mental Health Act, and mark a rare prosecution of an NHS trust for such offences. A Tottenham teenager who was jailed in Dubai over a consensual relationship with a 17-year-old British girl has begged for mercy from Sheikh Mohammed. 19-year-old Marcus Vakana was sentenced to a year in prison after he struck up a romantic relationship during a family holiday.
Oh, what's going on here? Why would there be
a group of plane spotters caught the moment a man was seen running across the Heathrow taxiway with airport staff in hot pursuit. In footage recorded by Big Jet TV, he's seen eventually being caught by staff in high-vis jackets. Next tonight, the row over the planned Chinese super embassy in Tower Hamlets that's costing the Met a lot of time and money and is even threatening to derail trade talks between Beijing and President Trump. And today, those US concerns over spying made their way into Parliament, as Cafe Pata reports.
A local protest to a foreign embassy. A row spanning far beyond Tower Hamlets, far beyond London, far beyond the UK.
One of the main opponents to these plans is the White House, the US. They claim plans to build a new Chinese embassy here will pose a national security risk. They say that it's all a ruse by the Chinese to be able to hack into the London Stock Exchange. The People's Republic of China, however, deny these accusations.
Today, those security concerns were raised in Parliament.
Beijing has a recent history of cutting cables and confirmed infrastructure hacks, including embedding malware capable of disabling all that infrastructure. No wonder our allies believe that this Chinese mega embassy is now becoming a walk of shame for the government.
And the government's response?
Well, I thank the right honourable member for those questions. As I said, Mr Speaker, no decision on the case has been made. The case is not yet before the department. In terms of the issue of cables, which he mentioned, it would not be appropriate to comment on any specific national security issue.
As it stands, Tower Hamlets Council opposes plans for the new embassy. A recent public inquiry revealed the Metropolitan Police have now withdrawn their objections. It's now down to the government to decide what happens next. All the while, a Chinese delegation met today with the Chancellor in Downing Street for trade talks with the US. Somewhat overshadowing those discussions is the planned mega embassy.
In terms of whether the Chinese embassy was raised during UK-US trade talks, again, it would not be appropriate to comment on the details of those talks.
Tower Hamlets is now the centre of a geopolitical debate. What comes next ultimately leaves two options: a new embassy or not. Kath Opata, ITV News.
Still to come on the programme, we speak to Sir Matthew Bourne about the West End stage plays that have made him one of the world's most respected choreographers, and...
Oliver, Oliver, never before has a boy wanted more.
A century since it first opened its doors, it's a family affair at the Charles Dickens Museum. Now, there's something new at Queen's Club this year. The tennis tournament, which serves as the perfect precursor for Wimbledon, will host a women's event for the first time in 52 years. And word has clearly spread among the sporting elite, with 10 of the world's top 20 signed up to compete in West London this week. Rags Martel has been to meet some of the British contenders.
For half a century, it's been men only.
Afternoon in London.
But today, women were back playing at Queen's. And all the stars of British tennis are here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here at Queen's. It's an event that I have come to when I was younger, so to be back and be playing it is amazing, and first time there's a women event for a very long time. So looking forward to that, and it's going to be great to be playing on home turf with a good crowd.
She's sort of flown under the radar a little bit, Soné Cartel.
The first Brit on court was Sidcup-born Soné Cartel, who's the third UK player in the top 50. She may not be a household name like Raducanu, but they've known each other since they were kids. This is them when they were 9 years old, and it was Soné who won the point.
And we were actually talking about it the other day, like it's an incredibly intelligent point for two 9-year-olds. You know, we use the whole court, and you look at it like that. But yeah, it's nice that we've kind of, you know, over 10 plus years down the line, we're both playing this tournament together.
Victory for Soné.
And the 23-year-old got off to a winning start this afternoon, beating Daria Kasatkina in 3 sets.
Please welcome back to Queen's Club, Sir Andy Murray.
Andy Murray was part of the opening ceremony this morning, also marking the arena in his name. But while women are playing the same game here, they don't have the same pay as the men. And this is what it's all about, the new women's trophy, which is the same size as the men, but this bit here is exactly 52 centimetres high, which represents the 52 years since women last played at Queen's.
In straight sets.
And on court 1, all smiles and hugs, with a victory for the British 1-2 doubles partnership.
Is this like a Queen's preparation thing, or could this be a Wimbledon doubles thing?
I mean, we haven't spoken about it. It kind of came spontaneously, like all things do with that. Scrap what she said again a couple of times.
The reign to be the British Queen of Queens begins tomorrow, when these two begin their singles campaign. Rags Martel, ITV News, West London.
Lots of smiles, which is what we love to see.
Commuters into London from Essex may have got the feel-good factor today. A C2C train named after the late Canvey Island performer Wilko Johnson from the 1970s rock band Dr. Feelgood was unveiled in his honour.
His life is like a film. This is like a film, even. And he's not here to see it, but this is like a film. It's a brilliant thing to happen. And God knows what he'd have made of it. But I think he would enjoy it, especially on this station where he used to come to his kids many times, you know. So, yeah, it's been really good.
Now, it's a very special evening news from Antarctica tonight. With the details, here's Martin Stew.
As the world moves ever closer to irreversible climate change, I'm in Antarctica witnessing the impact firsthand. The oceans are warming, the ice is melting, and sea levels are rising. Thousands of miles away in the Bahamas, the islands are one of the first to deal with the consequences. So what can be done? Is it already too late? World leaders are in Nice to try to find solutions for the future of our planet. Join me and Mary for that special programme plus the rest of the day's news at 6:30.
Now, our guest tonight is known as Britain's most successful choreographer and one of Hackney's most famous sons. He's a 5-time Olivier Award winner and the only Brit to have won a Tony Award for both choreographer and director of a musical. Well, now Sir Matthew Bourne is bringing his award-winning adaptation, The Midnight Bell, back for a UK tour, which starts in London tomorrow.
You always stir my imagination. Sometimes it borders on fantasy, and sometimes I find visions flash through my mind.
Well, I'll give you a measure of just what Matthew's like. He just whispered in my ear, I've got 9 Olivier Awards now, actually. That's what we like, a bit of a chuckle on this show. That's what we love. Now, Midnight Bell is sort of about 1930s, sort of intoxicated London, where people come together and they share stories and dreams. It feels so London.
Yeah, it's you know, before the days of sort of dating apps and things and social media, you had to go to a pub to meet someone, and that's what this thing is about. The show is about. And it's based on the brilliant novels by this guy called Patrick Hamilton, who spent all his time in London pubs. So it's not the 1930s of like Noel Coward with cigarette holders and cocktails and that kind of thing. It's very working class people, very much working class people and their lives. And I just fell in love with these books and the stories that they told.
It's a really beautiful adaptation, but this is the second time it's gone on tour. The first time was 2021, and we were just slowly coming out of COVID restrictions. So
the audience were in masks and everything.
So emotionally, audiences would have seen this in a very different way to how they would perhaps see it now.
Well, the piece came out of that in some ways because it's about leaving your home to meet with people, which we couldn't do, you know, so it very much sprung out of that. But of course, it's a universal thing. Always meeting, you know, we always want to connect.
Yeah. Are you quite excited about sort of an audience seeing it emotionally in a different way this time round?
Yes, and I think I do go for the emotion quite a lot in this piece in particular. I like people to feel something. You know, I also, it's funny at times as well. I like people to laugh and cry if I can do that. You feel it more if you've been laughing one minute and then something strikes you. It's just a bigger change of feeling, you know. So I do try and do that.
Do you still have the same excitement that you have? Like I remember reading about when you first did your adaptation of Swan Lake and how you don't remember that much for the night, just feeling very nervous about people seeing it. Do you still have that emotion?
I do. I still get nervous about things and the pieces. You know, that was 30 years ago this year. You know, Swan Lake, and it was a big deal at the time. But you know, I don't think you should ever lose that.
No.
You never should be overconfident. You know, you want to please people basically. You want to please the audience.
Well, I feel like that's a very Londoner trait because you are Hackney born and bred. And as a teenager, you used to go around autograph hunting to the West End shows, didn't you?
Yeah, London has always been my sort of playground in a way. And I started out very young. I only discovered recently how young I was. I got on a 38 bus from Walthamstow as well, so I went on to live quite a lot of my teenage years. But I used to get on a 38 bus into the West End when I was 13, 14, 15, that's sort of on my own a lot of the time, and went to see shows, but also waited for stars at hotels and stage doors and opening nights and things.
But what was it that's so beautiful? But what was it that, I don't know, that pulled you in about the West End?
I think it was on my doorstep for one thing, and I couldn't quite believe that I was seeing these people. My mum and I went to an opening night by chance one night. We didn't know it was the opening, and suddenly out of the cars got all these very famous people. I thought, you can actually meet these people. You know? I mean, I wasn't very young, I was about 13 at the time. But I just felt so connected to those people, and they were people that I adored, you know, from movies and films and TV.
But do you know what? I think it's almost that because it's such a beautiful way for you to have first, I don't know, stepped into that world.
Yeah.
The way that you've dealt with, I don't know, staging these shows to bring other audiences in, I think is reflective of you being a Londoner, I think. And to talk about one of your other shows, I have brought Sally in, tenuous link here, because you've been hanging out with Charles Dickens' family today, haven't you? And you've done an adaptation of Oliver.
Yes, Oliver in the West End, I directed and choreographed, and Charles Dickens' house, is it?
I mean, he must be a huge legend to you. He's a London legend like you, Matthew, and the museum's 100 years old today. It's where he wrote Oliver, which obviously has a huge effect on your heart, and his family were there, going back, forward, 7 generations. So I went to take a little look. Here we go.
Oliver, Oliver, never before has a boy wanted more.
That was extraordinary.
These Dickens aren't the first to have an audience hanging off their every word.
What's the famous line in Oliver Twist?
Please, sir, I want some more.
Perfect.
They're Charles Dickens' great-great-great-great-grandsons, who with other family members today are celebrating 100 years of the Charles Dickens Museum in Bloomsbury.
Dickens always loved to have a party. We know that he used to have huge parties around Christmas, and I think he would have loved this idea of celebrating the museum opening, but also celebrating our legacy as well.
It's here where he wrote the Pickwick Papers, Nicholas Nickleby and Oliver Twist.
We know him as a Victorian novelist, but that was the medium that was available to him. So today he would be using whatever was available to him. He would have got involved in theatre, he would have got involved in film, he would be using social media, he'd be using whatever he could to communicate.
As part of the anniversary, they brought out a few extra special pieces, and this is one of them, a portrait of Charles from when he was in his 30s, which we don't often see because they don't want it to get any light damage. And another piece is this, the only remaining full suit of his, which he wore to meet royalty in. And apparently he was quite frail at the time, so they double padded the waistcoat. If you boys could describe your great-great-great-great-grandfather in one word, what would you go for?
Brilliant.
Oh, that's lovely.
Accomplished.
Very good. Great choices, and I think the world would agree with you.
The first thing he said, "Do you know who I am?"
The family helped with talks and tours today, and hundreds came for free to get a taste of his legacy in London.
Sally, I'm going camping this weekend. Please tell me that the weather's going to take a turn and stick.
OK, right. Sorry. So, the good news is it's going to get warm and sticky. Is that good news for you?
Ish.
The bad news is that there could be some thundery showers.
No, don't want that.
Good luck, Shah. Right, let's take a look. Here we go. Here's the forecast.
Come rain or shine, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello again. I hope you had a super day. These little ones might not want their feathers by the end of this week. It's going to warm up. Tomorrow, a little bit of light rain, but plenty of dry weather as well. And then our temperatures start to climb as we go through the week. They'll end up quite humid as well. And the chance of some thundery downpours too. The reason? Well, we've got this warmer air coming up from the south, a Spanish plume if you like, and that will increase those temperatures and the stickiness. For this evening, there'll be a few brighter spells to the south, but we've got plenty more cloud moving in as a front approaches, and the wind's picking up overnight as well. It won't be too chilly, quite mild, firmly in those double figures, but possibly a bit of humidity as we go through the night too. And then tomorrow starts off and stays for most of the day on a cloudy note. You can see a little bit of light rain at times. There is plenty of dry weather in the mix as well, but you might just get caught out. Those temperatures a little bit warmer, particularly as the winds ease, highs of 20 to 23. And then as we go into the evening, you see those showers, maybe still a few around, but they are trying to ease off, and a little bit of sunshine for many of us finally at the end of the day. We've got more sunshine as the week goes on, those temperatures peaking on Friday, but the odd thundery downpour expected. We'll keep you posted. Here's the pollen.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
We are in the thick of the grass pollen season, I'm afraid, at the moment. So high to very high levels over the next few days, particularly when we've got that sunshine and those dry conditions. There's also some nettle pollen in the mix as well. That's it. Cheerio.
Finally tonight, we want to find the most fantastic fundraisers to represent our region at this year's Pride of Britain Awards, and we need your help. Now, if you know of someone who goes the extra mile for a special cause, doesn't matter how big or how small, they could be London's next fundraiser of the year. You can nominate individuals or groups, and we'll be sending one person plus their guest to the event to represent our region, where they'll be in with a chance of being named ITV Fundraiser of the Year. Here's Daisy Bustle with the details.
Get ready for a very special night.
The Pride of Britain Awards is a national institution. Now in its 26th year, it's an annual event celebrating the bravery and brilliance of those who display true grit and determination. ITV regional news programmes have played a big part in Pride of Britain, helping to find those amazing fundraisers who make an incredible difference in their communities. And now we're looking for our next champions, people who go that extra mile to raise money for a special cause. You can nominate an individual or a group of people, and with a special insight into what we're looking for, here's one of our Pride of Britain judges, ITV's very own Ben Shepherd.
I think the things that are hugely important is finding someone who is absolutely invested in their community, that has gone above and beyond for the people around them, without doubt has put themselves in a position where they've created an extraordinary movement with the charity endeavour that they've done, and really just because they have a huge passion for the people around them, the community they live in, they have done everything they can to try and change the lives of those people that they live alongside.
So, do you know someone who fits the bill and deserves recognition? All you have to do to nominate them is go to itv.com/Pride of Britain. That's all one word. You can nominate individuals or groups of people, but only one person and their guest can represent the region at the Pride of Britain Awards in London. Nominees must be aged 18 or over and be available to be filmed and have their fundraising story told on ITV Regional News. If you are under the age of 18, please get permission from a parent or guardian before you nominate. Nominations are now open and close at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday the 10th of August. A full list of terms and conditions can be found at itv.com.
Well, that's it from us. The evening news is next with Martin Stew in Antarctica and Mary in the studio. But for now, from all of us, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.